back to part 2, so we continue on our Shaman here, going from 10 to 20. And as you can see, we're still at Azurmus Isle at the moment, finishing up quests there with these Still Pine guys and their Still Pine keep and everything. You're going to recognize one of the quest people we're going to be killing here shortly. It's part of a quest item. You've probably seen them as pets. They can be pets for hunters. For Beast Mastery, the 51-point talent Beast Mastery is required, and so unfortunately, even though they're like level 12, not elite, you can't tame it until then. So we're going into Still Pine Hold now to do our quests there. There's a few quests there worth doing. There's some good leather rewards as well as some other rewards to get a hold of, and it's real easy. It's not that bad at all. This is pretty much the last thing besides the our Fire Totem quest that we'll be finishing up doing here in Azurmist, and then you're going to see us going to Darnassus, or sorry, not Darnassus, yeah, sorry, to Darkshore. Good Lord, focus, and starting things there. One thing I've noticed about the Shaman is it can be hard to decide when you should use your totems. You can see here I really haven't gotten used to using totems quite yet. I really should have used totems in this situation. I'm purely druiding it because I'm so used to it. So here is a great, and I've gotten better at it actually as playing my Shaman, and you'll see that in later videos in some parts, hopefully, of me using my totems more. And when you get, especially when you get more than one, it's a good time to use your totems. They are going to take some mana, so you're going to have to make sure you pick wisely. And usually what I'll do is a stone skin totem and then do some sort of combat assister using my fire totems. Helps a lot, really does. And the stone skin totem is wonderful because it gives you a whole bunch more armor. And of course there's a whole bunch of other earth totems that'll help, like the Earthbind totem. Wonderful, wonderful totem. Slows enemies down. I like using that when I'm just trying to run through and I get a whole bunch on me. I'll just drop it down and keep on going. And usually I can get away okay. So definitely a lot of options here. So he's going to send you really, really far. And unfortunately I forgot to record that part, so you're not going to see me actually doing the quest. You're just going to see me turn it in and all that. Once it's done, you will go ahead and do everything else you need to finish up, and then you'll go over to the Exodar to do your training, meet your main trainer, and everything like that. And then we'll head over to Darnassus. But Shamans are very interesting. I want to say that tanking with them is actually quite possible. I don't think you could really do it until you at least get mail armor, so you'd have to be at least level 40 to do it successfully. If you used probably either enhancement or elemental, you could probably tank really well. Definitely not as good as, say, a paladin, because you won't have plate armor, you're going to have mail armor, but it definitely could tank. Could be a tank or an off tank, I would say, in raids. Definitely if you're looking to do pulling and stuff in instances like a lot of paladins do to gather money or to help run people through, you could definitely do that with a shaman real easy, especially with your totems. But as to a pure tank or a complete tank, I don't see that happening with shamans. Shamans are probably most definitely DPS and DPS support and healing if you're on Restro. Otherwise, I don't see them in a tanking fashion. I guess you could do it, but I don't think it would be that easy, especially with just mail armor. I mean, if they had access to plate, that might be a little different. Plate is so important when it comes to good tanking, in my opinion. So you really have to just play with the specs, see which one you like, give everything a chance. You can always respec, not a big huge. So if you're a healer, you might find the Resto Shaman actually quite different. I mean, obviously you're going to have mail armor, and if anyone's ever played a Holy Paladin, they'll probably feel right at home here, if not a little better. Especially when you start getting your healing totems, of course. and a whole bunch of other totems, and of course the healing wave spell and things like that, which actually heals multiple targets at once. Chain healing, very effective in raids and very well liked. Though shamans are not always considered top of the end healers, ironically. They're really not looked at until you get to the higher raids. So if you're looking in-game content wise and you're looking to be a healer and you're looking to be a huge contribution, almost a guaranteed slot in a 25-man raid heroic, and you do not want to be a priest or a druid or a pally, you're pretty much there with a Restro Shaman, I believe. Their chain heals are amazingly efficient, especially with multiple shamans, and it has been tweaked a bit and changed a bit with the latest patches, and of course some more, but definitely something to look over. So we finish all that, we've hit XR, and now we're going to go ahead and head out to Darkshore. And again, I just want to remind everyone who maybe missed part 1 or skipped part 1, the main reason we're going to Darkshore is because I just like the quests out there better than Blood Mist. Frankly, I think they suck. But it's totally up to you whether or not you want to quest there. I'm also very familiar with the quests there. I've done them a million times, and I'm honestly not that tired of them, which is ironic. So that's the main reason why I'm heading out there. Some other notes I can, just out of first glance of the Shaman. She does have melee abilities. Like, of course, she starts with one-handed maces and staves, so you can obviously use a staff. Using one-handed maces is a good idea just because it gives you your shield. I do believe you can get dual-wield maces at a later level. I believe it's a talent point, yes. Thank you. So, I remember reading about that just a tad. And so it can be done, which makes them a very effective DPS class, wielding two one-handed maces with their totems and other DPS abilities. So if you are looking for a different DPS class, Shamans is a great place to start. And of course you got heals, even if they're not that powerful, for yourself, which is always a wonderful thing, especially when you're doing solo or level up play. Having heals and not being too squishy is always a wonderful thing. It definitely makes the experience a lot funner, a lot easier. I want to talk a little bit about my tactics here before we end part 2 and go to part 3. As you might have noticed, I have not been stopping by to buy anything. I haven't, except for food and drink, and of course professions. I don't buy any equipment. I don't go to the auction house. I don't buy any equipment. I'll go to the auction house to sell equipment that I don't use, of course, that I can. But I will not buy any equipment or glyphs or anything until level 20, and that's because really I consider the end of the starting first levels level 20, and you're going to see that in its entirety as me doing that. Now, whether or not you do that is totally up to you. If you have the gold to spend, obviously, and you want to twink yourself out, go for it. But I think it's just a waste because you're changing so much, especially those first 20 levels through gear. And that's not saying you're going to after level 20. Obviously, your gear's going to change. You're going to get guild quest rewards. And as you'll see, I try to keep my spending down to a minimum as possible. But before this, there's nothing. And this works out pretty well for a lot of classes that I've played. Obviously, the more squishy ones, especially as you get closer and closer to 20, can be a real pain in the ass. My priest, for example, near the end here was having serious trouble with the last quest because she was so under-equipped. Her equipment was old and bad, and she really needed bad ones. But I stuck it out. I got it done. It's finished. So that's all for part 2. We're going to continue on part 3. We'll see some more of the Shaman as we go through Darkshore and get up to more levels. If you have more instances and you want to see more information about the actual talents for Shamans, I'm not going to go through every single talent here. Obviously, that just take too much video time. Hit the talent calculator on the World of Warcraft website. We'll hit you in part 3, so see you then.